How ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
It's almost poetic, the way things turn. For years, Whoopi Goldberg sat at the head of the table on The View, eyes sharp, voice sharper, controlling the conversation like a seasoned conductor. With a smirk or an arched brow, she could silence dissent, spin a narrative, and win an audience. But on this day, in a cold courtroom beneath flickering fluorescent lights, she wasn't the star. She was the defendant. There were no cameras to flatter her, no co-hosts to defer. The usual stage was gone. What replaced it was a federal courtroom packed with reporters, attorneys, and tension so thick it clung to the air. Opposite her sat Caroline Leavitt, quiet and steady, the unexpected force behind the most explosive media lawsuit in recent memory. It hadn't started with a bang, but with a smirk. Caroline had once walked onto the View set as a guest, expecting conversation. Instead, she was treated like a punchline. Joy Behar dismissed her youth. Sunny Hostin made a pointed remark about privilege. Then came Whoopi, cutting, casual, and cruel. "You didn't earn this," she said. "You're just a product of right-wing pity politics." Laughter followed. Applause. Then silence. Caroline didn't react. No public feud, no Twitter thread. She simply took notes. And later, she took legal action. What came next shocked even the most hardened media insiders. An $800 million defamation suit. Not just against Whoopi, but against ABC, the producers of The View, and the very corporate machine that had protected Goldberg for decades. The lawsuit alleged intentional character assassination, targeted bullying disguised as panel banter. And Caroline had receipts. From the moment opening arguments began, the courtroom transformed into a theater of reckoning. But this wasn't daytime television, this wasn't scripted, this was real. As Caroline's legal team began laying out the case, the temperature in the room dropped. They didn't just accuse, they presented documents, emails, Slack messages, internal memos marked confidential. One message read, "Have Whoopi go hard, make it trend." Another, "Zoom in on Caroline's face when Whoopi hits her." That's the viral moment. You could hear the breath leave the room. Whoopi, normally calm and composed, blinked too fast. Her fingers tapped nervously on the wooden desk. Her lawyer placed a hand on her arm. She pulled away. The queen of daytime TV was unraveling, live and unscripted. The courtroom projector displayed another document, a chilling memo from the producer's desk. Mention Trump, see if she bites. If not, use race. Let Whoopi lead, the audience will. Heat it up. The judge paused, removed his glasses, looked straight at ABC's legal team and asked, "Did your producers coach this ambush?" No one answered. Silence thundered louder than any voice ever could. And through it all, Caroline didn't gloat. She didn't even speak. She just sat, still, resolute. Her team flipped pages, submitted evidence, and piece by piece, dismantled the empire that once mocked her on national television. Forensic analysts confirmed the digital trail. Nothing was fabricated, emails were verified, Slack messages time-stamped, segment drafts uncovered lines in bold, dismiss with humor, attack with intellect, flip the crowd. This wasn't debate. It wasn't even opinion. It was a tactical character takedown, executed in front of millions, dressed in coffee mugs and studio lighting. Whoopi was no longer a host. She was the weapon. And now, she was exposed. As the pressure mounted, Whoopi's demeanor crumbled. Her posture sagged. Her jaw clenched. Her hands trembled. At one point, she stared blankly at a sheet of paper. Silent, stunned. Then, a tear. Just one. It traced down her cheek like a confession, glinting in the courtroom lights. She wiped it away quickly, but not quickly enough. Journalists didn't miss it. Within moments, headlines hit social media. Breaking, Goldberg breaks down in court. Live. Blogs buzzed. Twitter caught fire. Screenshots circulated. The judge called for a 10-minute recess. Reporters filed out, phones in hand. But Whoopi stayed seated, shoulders low, eyes hollow. A bailiff approached and asked if she needed anything. Her response was quiet. "I didn't know they saved all of that." Her voice cracked. Across the room, Caroline remained still. She hadn't smiled. She hadn't cried. She simply watched, not with triumph, but with the steady gaze of someone who had prepared for this moment down to the last detail. The break ended. But the story wasn't over. It was just beginning. When court resumed, the tone had changed. The media weren't just observers, they were witnesses. And Whoopi, she was no longer the titan of television. She was a woman buried beneath the weight of her own words. Caroline finally leaned to her lawyer and whispered 2 words. "Let's continue." Outside the courtroom, chaos had begun to engulf The View and its parent company, ABC. Executives scrambled in early morning Zoom calls. Legal teams huddled over conference tables. Contingency plans were drawn. Spin doctors tried and failed to get ahead of the story. Meanwhile, the fallout spread like wildfire. Major sponsors began pulling out. A luxury skincare brand withdrew its Q3 campaign. An auto manufacturer hit pause indefinitely. A travel brand erased their entire placement calendar. No one wanted their logo beside headlines about defamation, targeted media bullying, and an $800 million lawsuit armed with hard evidence. Behind the scenes of The View, morale collapsed. Panic whispered through hallways once filled with studio. Laughter. Whoopi stopped speaking to staff. Her dressing room door stayed shut. Internally, producers whispered about exit strategies, hiatuses, and brand preservation. But they all meant the same thing: the end. Executives used euphemisms, transition, strategic rebranding. But the truth was unavoidable. The queen of daytime television was being dethroned. Not by public opinion, not by ratings, but by receipts. And this time, they weren't buried. They were televised. Caroline still hadn't spoken to the press. No podiums, no podcasts, just the quiet power of someone who knew the truth would speak for itself. And it did. The media storm didn't fade. It only grew. Analysts debated whether this could end The View as we know it. Some claimed ABC was bracing for cancellation. Others speculated about internal settlements and NDA-filled retirements. But everyone agreed something irreversible had just happened. The truth had been weaponized, not with anger, but with precision. And in a world where spin is everything, Caroline Leavitt had done the unthinkable. She made the spin stop. So now it's your turn. Do you think Whoopi Goldberg should be held accountable for what happened on The View? Was Caroline Leavitt right to take a stand? Or did she go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Every opinion matters. Smash that like button if you believe no one, no matter how famous, should be above accountability. Subscribe for fearless commentary that cuts through the noise and exposes what others won't. Share this with someone who still thinks daytime TV is harmless entertainment, because what just happened wasn't harmless. It was a reckoning. And remember, receipts don't lie. This time, they were televised.